Thank you very much, my brother. I'll start by recognizing His Excellency the President, William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces in our country. Her Excellency the Prime Minister of Barbados, Honorable MAN ATWOLI, whom we have just listened to virtually. Our Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection, Sister Florence Bore, the International Labour Organization Director General, Brother Gilbert Hogbo, the Director of the International Labour Organization, ACTRAF, Sister Maria Lena, Sister Jacqueline Mugo, who is with us here, Executive Director of the Federation of Kenya Employers, Brother Fred Redmond, Secretary Treasurer of the American Federation, or FLCIO in brief, short, the General Secretary of the International Trade Union Confederation, Brother Luke Triangle, and the President of the International Trade Union Confederation African Region, Brother Moody Giro. My own brother that we have worked together, Brother Kwesi Adua Mankwa, the General Secretary of our organization on this continent, ITUC. My brother, the General Secretary of the Organization of the African Trade Unions Unity, Brother Rizik Masood. And also let me take this opportunity to welcome and recognize the Managing Trustee of our National Social Security Fund that had been built by workers over the years, Brother Koros, the immediate former President of our International Trade Union Confederation globally, Brother Ayuba Waba from Nigeria, the two immediate former coordinators of the PANAF program, Brothers Peter Jensen and Gianno Olata. These are the two guys that developed labor movement on this country by providing education to shop-level leaders, branch secretaries, and those associated with labor movement on our continent. Invited guests, delegates, brothers and sisters, I will try to be very brief so that I don't tire my president, whose schedule is so busy, and he has found time to come out of it to be with us. First and foremost, let me thank you, Your Excellency the President, for our Republic, for finding time out of your busy schedule to be with us this afternoon, and particularly for always creating time for the working people of our country whenever we call upon you. I remember vividly, Mr. President, that on the 14th February this year, when our organizations, that is the Central Organization of Trade Unions Executive Board, and affiliate general secretaries called on you at State House in Nairobi, you made 4 promises, but I will mention only 3, because the 4th one we are still negotiating. That you committed to fulfill. First, when we invited you to join us during the 1st May International Labor Day celebrations as our worker number 1 to Uhuru Gardens, to attend and preside over the celebrations during that wonderful day of our year calendar, we saw you in person. You left, and you came back at our luncheon and more so to explain to workers how you want to put up houses for Kenyans. Secondly, we requested you kindly to allow us to ask the Director General of the International Labour Organization to invite you to attend the 111th International Labour Day Conference in Geneva. And on receiving the invitation, you responded positively and attended this important annual event of the International Labour Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. And this was a big honor, not only to Kenyan workers, but Africa, as well as making history to our country being the first president to attend the ILC. Thirdly, Mr. President, was our request for you to come and grace today's International Trade Union Confederation African Region Congress, 5th Congress. You also agreed and kept your word, and here you are, Your Excellency. What else do I say? We thank you for keeping your word, Your Excellency. We are aware, we have been in public life, Your Excellency. Very few political leaders who are committed to the ideals of keeping up their words, and you are one of them who keep their, whatever you say, you make sure you are up to it. Let me also take this opportunity, Mr. President, on behalf of Kenyan Trade Union Movement, to humbly welcome all delegates and guests to this important 5th African ITUC Congress in our country, Kenya, and I hope and trust that you will feel, my brothers and sisters, will all feel comfort while here in this capital of our country, Nairobi. At the same time, let me take this opportunity to thank the government of His Excellency, the President, William Samoei Ruto, whom we are with here, to have waived any payment on visas. All of you, none of you paid any penny on a visa. And if there is any, here he is, you will be refunded your money. And let me tell you, it is his policy, and he has preached it to us, so that he can be able to promote free movement of persons on this continent, free trade amongst ourselves, to promote inter-trade and ease flow of communication on our continent. That is part of what he has been preaching. We thank you for these bold steps, Mr. President, and continue preaching this. For example, we in the East African community, we don't require somebody visiting Uganda and he has a visa from Uganda or Tanzania or Rwanda or Burundi or Somalia now to come to Kenya and is being asked for another visa. In the same breath, Your Excellency, as a labor leaders, we can attest here today that you remain fearless leader who never shy away from receiving criticisms. Let me tell my colleagues to know that. Considering that I personally, as Francis Atwoli, Secretary General of COTU, for so many years, to you on every proposal you made to the electorate. But as a true Democrat in our democratic society, after your election, you said, you guy, come around, let's sit down, and we agreed to work together and promote workers and Kenyans' interests at large. That is a true reflection of a true democratic leader. When my colleagues all over the world, they were worried that, oh, maybe this will have to be what happens maybe elsewhere, you changed the narrative, it became positive, and you moved closer to us more than any other organization. And we thank you for that. And I think that is a very good example for the young generation and those who aspire to be leaders for the purposes of creating a united nation, a nation that cares about other leaders and respects the views of them or whatever type from those who are opposed to them. You have also continued, not only that you didn't stop there, you have also continued to engage workers always. You have given us audience to which we remain grateful as we equally continue championing for the aspirations of working men and women in our country. Most of people say, why is no court talking about the cost of living? Why court is not talking about issues related to taxation and so on? Why court is quiet when people are doing this? But I can assure you, and here the president is, I have time and again engaged the president. He has given us his side of his story, and we have given him our side of story, and we have given ourselves time bound that we expect things to change. I remember when I took over our organization, there were a lot of problems. That is the Central Organization of Trade Unions. It could not afford a ticket, even of one guest or a delegate or whatever. But I can assure you, President, that our organization is one of the powerful organizations on the continent of Africa. And as you see us here, for my brothers and my sisters, we have hosted them as Central Organization of Trade Unions. And this is it shows maturity and more committed leadership to an organization that is able to host brothers and sisters in magnitude numbers as those that you can witness here. This is what also some of our colleagues stand for, like Nigerian Labour Congress, Ghana TUs, and so many other trade unions on the continent do. It's not only KOTU, but we also emulate our brothers from elsewhere, including Senegal, where Brother Mudi Giro comes from. Your Excellency, you extended us this honor by appointing me recently as a member of the Health Insurance Authority to be part of the teams that is spearheading social health reforms in our country. And your government is putting in place some mechanism to make sure that we have a working workers and Kenyans health insurance for all. Let me tell you something, Your Excellency. You might think that is small. We do appreciate. It has been to my dream. And I want to tell those, I wish those who are in my age bracket, and say from 40 years or 35 years now, up to where I am, if you close that door there, and you ask your police officers to carry out inspection in our pockets and in our handbags and extend it to our rooms or our cars, you will be required to have cartons and cartons to fill the tablets of the medicines, capsules, and what type of medicines that these people work with. We live on tablets, we live on medicines, and we need to have a working health insurance authority. And that is why I support that. I will be there. If anything goes wrong, Your Excellency, I will raise an alarm, because that is the area of our concern. And even those who are below 35, Your Excellency, for your information, they also require blue tablets. And they need to be, after they get problems with the blue tablets, they require sound health medical insurance authority. Brothers and sisters, KOTU Kenya is honored to host the 5th Congress of the International Trade Union Confederation, Africa, under the theme, Amuka Africa. I want to thank ITC. Amuka Africa. Amuka Africa, to have translated that awake into our national official language of Kiswahili, that let Africa wake up. And that has been your policy, Mr. President. Wherever you have gone, you have highly talked about Amuka Africa, on global financing, on global unity, on global participation in international fora, and in everything that you thought Africa should take a center stage. You have always talked without fear of contradiction, and we support you for that. However, as I have always said, Africa is awake, and as workers, we must always unite, for we have nothing to lose but our chains. In the pursuit of a brighter future for our workers, we must acknowledge the pressing need to build skills across the African continent, because our workforce deserves the opportunity to thrive in an era of rapid change. You can do so if you are working closely with governments. I want to thank governments, not only our government here. When we were in our meeting in Geneva, that is the governing body where I represent workers in this region. Sorry, Sister Jacqueline, it's a little bit painful. But government supported us to make sure that we win a vote to refer the right to strike to the International Court of Justice. Where there is an arbitration, where people are not understanding, let other people arbitrate us. And if you are not working with governments together, moving with governments together, they would have left us alone. And that is why there are things under social tripartism that both employers, workers, and governments must move towards one line. And the three are anchored at the international labor organization like this. That is why, after our elections and our party lost to his party, to the party of the president, I told my colleagues, I go back to where I belong. Because where I belong is in social tripartism, social dialogue, and an area of collective bargaining. I want to thank our employers. They have talked a lot about cost of living. But I want also, it's unfortunate that when I asked my handlers whether Jacqueline would be coming, there was no that confirmation and so on. Jacqueline would have been able to tell us, because he has been talking about cost of living and so on, which is very good. The employers have someone that they can pass to the expenses of doing businesses. This somebody is a consumer who is a worker. Workers, we have nobody that we can pass to. And that is why we need to come together with the employers as they talk about the cost of living at their own initiative. First of all, say, this is the percentage we are declaring to our suffering workers in this era of high cost of living. We will appreciate, we will thank them, and we will love them. Now, as the world is gearing up towards the COP28 that will be taking place in Dubai, I call upon all of us not to forget the clarion call for just transition that ensures that as we move towards a sustainable future, the rights and well-being of workers are safeguarded. But I have also told my colleagues that just transition does not only mean our areas of comfort being safeguarded by this clarion call. It also means that we are transiting from the current situation of agitation to next level. We cannot continue, remain in the agitation which has been our background for years. We must move to a next level from agitation to articulation so that we can attract both our employers and government to sit down and see what is good for workers and what do we need to have. Furthermore, we must remain true to our commitment of ending gender abuses in our workplaces through forced environments where all workers, regardless of gender, can contribute their talents without fear of discrimination or harassment. At this point, let me thank Mr. President for the further support you have extended to us by constituting a tripartite committee that is now working towards the process of ratifying various international labor conventions in the country, notably Convention number 190 and Convention number 189, to which you have made references to in various addresses that you have made, both locally and across the globe. We kindly ask your government to hasten this process and carry out this ratification as the world is watching us, Your Excellency. Brothers and sisters, it is about time that African continent adopts the high roadmap towards social protection. The well-being of our workers should not be compromised for short-term gains, because social protection measures are not only a mark of a civilized society, but also an investment in the stability and resilience of our workforce. And on this note, I want to thank Your Excellency for having said that let us, we in Kenya here, change our contribution to a little bit higher contribution, so that when one is retiring, he has something to carry with him at home. I thank you for that. We used not to see that. We used to take the government to court on the same, but I think if that care is taken, then that will be all right. Lastly, I want to appeal also to my colleagues who are here. What we need to do is like what others do. Let government have our money if there is money, but let us also carry out audit on that so that we can complain. Sometimes we make complaints and we don't audit. And when we don't audit, whom do you claim? Brothers and sisters, let me, as I wind up, remind us that in this age of rapid digitization, unions must evolve and fight to remain relevant by inventing new approaches towards membership drive that is so sophisticated and organized for our member sustainability. I want to declare to our brothers here in Kenya and those who are from elsewhere in Africa that I've had a short meeting with the Director General of the International Labour Organization. And one of the flags I raised was towards this issue of digitization and digital economy and so on. We need, as leaders, to go to the drawing board and understand it well, and we require a lot of support from the International Labour Organization. I'm happy that the Director General has itemized it as an item of agenda to be seriously discussed at the International Labour Conference. Brothers and sisters, let me end by reminding us that our struggles and triumphs are interconnected across borders. As such, solidarity is our strength, and by uniting with workers worldwide, we amplify our collective voice for justice and fairness. This Congress, therefore, is a pivotal moment for us to reflect on our shared aspirations and renew our total commitment to the cause of workers. We have nothing to lose, but freeing ourselves, and together we shall forge our path towards a more equitable and prosperous future of workers across our continent. Finally, Your Excellency, let me take this opportunity to humbly thank the team behind the success of this Congress. As issues related to security and what have you, Your Excellency, you delivered a very senior Chief of Staff from your office, Josephat Nanok, to be with us. The Minister of Labour gave us Sister Helena Pio, and Dr. William Kiprono from the Minister of Labour, Dr. Emo Mwanga from Kenya Revenue Authority, and our guests have not complained on any issue of paying taxes on whatever they were carrying. and also Sister Susan Wanjira from Kenya Airports Authority, Brother Kimanzi Mtuk from Directorate of Immigration, to make sure that nobody is harassed at the airport or something like that. And also the Nairobi Regional Commissioner's Office and the officer in charge of police. So our brothers and sisters from outside who are here, they are safe because of the officers you gave us. Lastly, I want to thank my own deputy because they are organizing this workshop when I'm in the GB in Geneva. Brother Benson Okwaro, the chairman of the function, Brother Albert Njeru, together with the colleagues, Reverend Joel Kandie Chebi, Brother Ernest Nadome, as well as Sisters Rebecca Nyatagora, Sister Rosso Mamu, and the entire COTU staff. And I want you to continue doing that good job until we will see our brothers and sisters off. And the medical center must be around, Brother Barasa. We must make sure that whoever becomes sick is attended to immediately. I want to thank you, and I want to thank you, President, once again for finding time to be with us. I know there are a lot of important factions that you skipped because of us. And may God bless you!
Asante sana ndugu Francis Atwoli, waziri, karibu.
Your Excellency, Dr. William